Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into the heart of the latest Iran-Israel developments. Specifically, this ceasefire that was announced, but, well, it seems incredibly shaky already. Our goal here is to sort of unpack what our sources are telling us, to help you navigate the accusations, the denials, everything that's swirling around this. Because this isn't just another headline, is it? It feels like a real-time stress test for the whole region, maybe even global diplomacy. It shows just how thin peace can be.
It really does. And what's striking, I think, is just how fast things seemed to turn south after we got that glimmer of hope. So it was June 23rd, 2025, former U.S. President Donald Trump, acting as a mediator, he announced this 12-day ceasefire. The terms seemed pretty straightforward. Just stop the attacks on both sides, try to prevent things from getting worse. It felt like maybe a moment to catch a breath.
Yeah, a very, very short breath, it turns out. Remember, he even said something like, we've reached a temporary peace, but it's fragile. And wow, fragile was the word. Feels pretty prophetic now looking back just a short time later. Because it wasn't even, 10 hours? Less than 10 hours after it was supposed to start, things started falling apart. Israel came out almost immediately accusing Iran. Said they'd launched long-range ballistic missiles into Israeli territory, targeting infrastructure, reportedly.
Right. And then, just as quickly, Iran comes back with a flat denial. No, we didn't breach the agreement. But they didn't stop there. They turn it around, accusing Israel of, assassinating 14 Iranian nuclear scientists, an airstrike they claim inside Iran itself, which, raises this huge question. If both sides are denying responsibility for breaking the ceasefire, how do you even figure out what's actually happening? I think the key is seeing these accusations and denials as part of their strategy. Shaping the narrative for people at home and internationally. It makes finding a verifiable truth or de-escalation just incredibly complex.
So you've got these strong denials, but the reality on the ground seems different. Our sources are suggesting missile exchanges, drone attacks, they're still happening, or reportedly happening, despite the official lines. That puts the ceasefire under, immense pressure right from the start.
Exactly. An immediate severe test. And the human cost, unfortunately, was also immediate. In Iran, sources confirm at least those 14 nuclear scientists killed, plus some military personnel. And then in Israel, reports say at least 28 people dead. That includes civilians, doesn't it? Places like Tel Aviv and Haifa from the missile attacks.
Just tragic. And the ripple effect, it spread really fast across the region too, right? Countries like Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, they shut down their airspace pretty quickly, just as a precaution.
Yeah.
And you saw major airlines, Emirates, Qatar Airways, Etihad suspending flights over the area. That tells you how serious the perceived danger is.
Absolutely. A clear signal. And, beyond the immediate neighbors, you felt it in the markets, too, instantly. If we sort of connect the dots here, initially, when the ceasefire was announced, there was this sigh of relief globally. Oil prices actually dipped, fell about 2.5%. Traders felt a bit better for a moment, but stock markets, they only recovered slightly. You could still feel that uncertainty hanging there. It didn't fully bounce back.
And the international reactions, they've been all over the map, really reflecting how complicated this is.
Okay.
And again, we're just relaying what our sources indicate here. The U.S. urging restraint, Navy on high alert, standard procedure perhaps. Then you have Russia and China, calling for the UN Security Council to step in, push for de-escalation. France's President Macron, he specifically flagged Iran resuming uranium enrichment, called it a dangerous provocation. And those reports mention enrichment up to 60% purity. That's significantly higher than needed for civilian use, isn't it? A big step closer to potential weaponization. Definitely raises the stakes diplomatically. Meanwhile, other players like Turkey and Qatar, they pointed the finger more at Israel, blaming them for the violation, condemning the civilian deaths.
Yeah, it's a very mixed bag of reactions. But what's undeniable, I think, is that the tension across the whole region is just incredibly high. It hasn't really gone down. Both Iran and Israel are clearly still militarily postured, very active. And then you factor in the proxies. Groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, that powerful Iran-backed group, and the Houthi rebels down in Yemen, also aligned with Iran. Their potential involvement just ramps up the fear of this spilling over into a much wider conflict across the Middle East. And that's exactly why we're seeing this push for an emergency UN Security Council meeting. It's that serious.
So, trying to wrap our heads around this, what does it all mean for you watching this unfold? I guess it means seeing firsthand just how incredibly fragile any declared peace can be, especially when you have such deep distrust in these ongoing hostilities bubbling right under the surface.
It really does. And maybe the thought to leave you with is this. Given how incredibly quickly the ceasefire was tested, almost immediately undermined, What does that tell us about what's actually needed for real, lasting de-escalation in the region? It seems like it has to be something much deeper than just these temporary, easily broken agreements.